All right, Nick, I'm back. Reds are winning. And we're going to try to close it down here in the 9th inning. And I'm sure that I'm behind you, and that's okay. That's okay for now.
Call a friend, tell a friend. Trace Fowler's back.
We're back. Buck Farmer, huh? That's what we're doing right now? So look, yep. Good to see.
Yeah, guessing Jabot's warming. I don't know if you heard that on the broadcast.
So Diaz is just no-go.
I think that's why you saw them trying to get as much out of Marriott as you could.
Yeah, I mean, I seen people complain about bringing in Diaz yesterday. It's like that's a go for broke moment. I mean, I'm not going to blame him, David Bell, for bringing in his best guy with the bases loaded. I know it's the 8th inning, and you could say that his splits aren't that great with that.
Do or die. I mean,
is that really how they get a hit?
Yeah.
All right. Man. Yeah, just keep throwing strikes. Keep throwing strikes.
Pretty cruel spot for them.
Yash,
bringing
man.
Luke Weaver in, huh?
Yash, I got to be honest, brother. I want you to keep your money. I love you, though. I don't want you to. Don't take the slander personally. I got people in the chat that either they genuinely don't know who I am, or they're just on me. The legend is on me. I don't love how I can hear my other TV in the other room that is basically like ahead of me. I hear a ball get hit hard. Sounds like it's an out.
I got an update on the score.
What the dude, Renfroe, bro? Like, what are we doing, man? With all due respect, brother. I mean, yeah, he's laughing, bro. I mean, did you think about running? Renfroe don't look the best out there and right. Just tossing that out there.
He's got a great arm, and that's about it,
brother. I mean, he's a heavy fella. He ain't missing. But that dude's probably been to Ruby's a few times already, if I had to guess.
Yeah, he does not like that Jake Fraley can't play the field. He's like, Jake, please, come play the field.
That's a strike. Come on. France. Look at that, Yash. That's your guy at first base. Rick's asking how many runners did the Reds strand today? They stranded a decent amount, but the reason they stranded a decent amount is they were actually getting on base for once, which is nice. I'm gonna try to be positive on this show.
They did score 6, right? That number is accurate.
Yeah, 6 runs. 6 runs is usually good enough in a baseball game. Usually good enough. I'm not saying it's good enough today, but it usually is.
Gets the starting pitcher with an ERA like just around 4. Like, I mean.
Yeah, he didn't look good today though. He's hitting guys. Nice pitch. I feel like the chat's 2 pitches ahead of me. You're 1 pitch ahead of me, and my TV's 1 pitch ahead of me. I have to get to the bottom of this.
Sit down.
I like that. I like when you bring me good news.
All right.
I like when you bring me good news. 2 away.
Just getting Jabot warm, so if one more batter gets on base, Jabot can get a cheap save. Is that?
I mean, is Jabot, with all due respect, though, and I know this is going to sound like a little slanderous, and I mean everything I'm about to say, is Jabot really that much better than Buck Farmer? Like, at the end of the day, like, Buck Farmer is not.
Depends on the day.
Yeah, it's like Buck Farmer's looking like he's throwing the ball pretty decent. Let's just roll with it. I mean, I'm not bringing in Jabot if he gives one more guy on. I'm just not. Jabot's coming in the game if the go-ahead run is like at the plate or on first base.
Who's your daddy? With all due respect, the Reds have played like 26 players today. Why are you talking about the one player that hasn't even come in this game? What are we doing? Like, I don't get it, man.
I'm not looking at the chat.
Jesus. Like,
well, is he on the fact that you said that he brought up someone that hasn't played today? I mean, I'm just doing the math here. I'm assuming he's talking about Stuart Fairchild.
Ding, ding, ding. My God. Holy crap.
My son is distraught. He can't get his soda behind me. Just grab it. Jeez Louise, man. Come on. Bring me good news. Okay. Damn it. I tell you what, Mouse Cop always gets me. Always gets me. I see it every time.
All right, Chabot, here's your cheap save.
I mean, with all due respect, you're bringing in Chabot here?
I mean, Farmer's at 28 pitches. I think it has much to do with that as anything else.
I just don't. I mean, I'm giving him one more hitter, man. All right. I mean, it's not like it's a huge difference, but
one thing I don't like is I feel like Jabot's more of a risk to walk the.
Yeah, I mean, you just don't know what you're getting. Farmer's throwing strikes. If he gets up another hit, he gives up another hit. But I don't think Farmer's going to walk a guy. Is where I'm at. He's throwing strikes.
Yeah. I'm guessing it's the pitch number. I'm guessing
I mean, I get that too.
They're you know.
I mean, the first hit was a joke. Let's be honest. That hit was a little more respectable. Can you unmute that? Turn it down. Golly day, man. We got what, tying runs the on deck circle?
Tying run on the on deck circles, Julio Rodriguez.
Yeah. All right.
So this is a huge batter. You got to go after Crawford.
Yeah.
You cannot walk him.
Yeah.
I mean, if he hits a 3-run home run, it's a 3-run home run. Like, so be it. Tip your cap. Yeah, we need some likes.
Yeah, likes. Good idea, Nick. Likes.
We need some likes.
We need all the likes we can get. Man. No.
Please throw strikes, Chabot.
All right, Jabot. Come on, Jabot. Let's get it out. Let's throw strikes. That's the most important thing. Throwing strikes. Ricky Logan with the super chat. Good vibes only. Eugenio Suarez special. Oh no, wrong pipe. Throw this kid strikes. I mean, this is brutal. I'm basically listening to Sadak on the radio right now. Is what I got going on. I can hear it. I can hear it from the other television, and it's like a pitch ahead of me. Oh. Gosh, those are decent pitches, but I need a strike here in the worst way possible. I don't like what you just did.
Oh, boy.
Is this a shitty? Oh, the shift.
It was,
Gotta love it.
it was hit pretty well.
I don't think that was hit well. I bet that had like a 77 mile an hour exit velocity. Maybe 80. I'll give it 80. Yeah, I mean, that ball's... God, dude. Oh, I got to figure out the... Listen, it's a three-run. It's a three-run game with three. Throw him strikes. Yep. Let's go after him. I ain't scared of this guy, okay? I'm not scared of him, Nick. Not scared of him.
I'm a little scared.
I'm not scared of him, damn it. I'm sick and tired of being scared of people. Let's go after him. We ain't beating around the bush either. We're going right after him. Strikes, strikes, strikes.
Dude, how was that called a ball?
I'll tell you right here. Let me tell you. I'll tell you.
What?
No. That's just because our boy is just a big guy back there. And I mean, I know that that's not a good reason, but
It didn't even touch the corner on game day.
yeah, that's a strike.
Oh my God.
Listen, we're going after him. All right, let's not. I don't want to say the worst case scenario ties the game, but like worst case scenario ties the game. We're not walking him, letting a guy come up here and accidentally hit a home run. I'm not doing that shit. Throwing strikes at this guy. Thank you. Go after him. Just throw a strike, Nick. That's all I care about. Don't tell me. I don't want to know. I'm not scared of this guy. Is he a good player? Yes.
No, that's a strike. Strike 4.
If this is a ball and it's a strike, then I'm going to be a little upset. If it's a strike and a strike, then I'm going to be happy about it. Nick, are you trying to tell me that we have a show to do or not? Are you telling me we have a show to do? Oh, we got a show to do. That's what I'm talking about. Don't be scared of nobody. It's a life's message. We got a show to do. Let's do one. All right, Nick, that is a win for Chatterbox Reds. I'm glad to be back. I know that that's not the traditional intro. I know you guys are waiting on the real intro. It is really close to being done, but your boy ain't bringing it out until it's finished, okay? That's just the way it's going to go. Reds win 6-3 on a game in which sometimes it looked like it was a spring training split squad edition. I got to be honest with you, Nick. We had numbers galore out there, 86, 82, 65, 70. But it doesn't matter. Reds keep winning, Nick. They just keep winning. I don't know what to tell you. They're not supposed to be doing this. You can say whatever you want. You can get mad about whoever you want to get mad at. You want to get mad at David Bell? Get mad at David Bell. You want to get mad at Nick Krall for not having guys when there was like 30 guys hurt? Get mad at Nick Krall. But all I got news for you is if you can't enjoy this team, what team are you going to enjoy? Nick, I'm glad to be back. Thank you for holding the fort down for quite some time there. You've been doing pretty well. Obviously, yesterday was probably a tough one, but overall, did you expect to win this game? Be honest.
No, I didn't think there was any chance they win this game today. I mean, this was the. I guess we got to start saying, let's just hope for one win in a series because it seems to be work. Every time we say that, it feels good. I mean, this is a series. I said yesterday, find a way to win one game, and you won the one game they probably felt the worst about. But huge job by TJ Antone setting the tone. Huge job by the offense scoring runs early. Just that's a huge win. Just really makes this whole week a lot more easier to navigate.
Yeah, I mean they're all magnified now, right? Like it kind of feels like you have a microcosm of a game in and of itself for the season, and we're getting down towards the last inning of a game, and those are magnified, right? You make an error in the last inning, you walk a couple guys in the last inning, you hit a home run in the last inning. It's the one thing that everyone talks about after the game, right? It's the main thing. And nobody wants to talk about what happened in the second and third inning of a game. They want to talk about what happens in the eighth and the ninth inning of a game, which I understand the logic of it, but my point is that every game here on out for the rest of the season is going to be extremely magnified. They are in a race for the playoffs. Let's face it. That we've gotten to the point now where that's exactly where they're at, and that's who they are. And the truth is that a month ago you could say, well, I don't know, maybe you could argue they're going to fall off and they're not going to be a playoff team. They are legitimately, Nick, at this point, I know this isn't breaking news, but they are legitimately in a playoff race. You're going to be scoreboard watching every single day, every single night, and there they sit, right there. Tied atop. And Nick, you got to like your chances a little bit based off the remaining schedule. I do understand that doesn't ultimately factor in wholesome a guarantee to make the postseason, but the biggest concern at this point is just health. I don't know how you feel, Nick, but I truly think if and again T's and P's here, but if the Reds can survive COVID, I think they have a good chance, man. It's a shame that this whole COVID thing outbreak, though. I don't know. I have my own thoughts on that, but I'm not trying to get in hot waters here.
Well, since the Reds found out half their team was on the COVID IL, they're 2-1. Just some. I mean, I'm assuming it was like in the middle of the game because that's when they made the all those roster changes was in the middle of the day on Friday, and they've won two games since. Or three games since. No, 3-1, right?
3-1.
Yeah, I misspoke there. So, yeah, I mean, look, that's just – I mean, this was a survive week, and so far, it's a lot of baseball to go. They've thrived, and, I think they deserve a lot of credit for – you just got to think behind the scenes how difficult of a situation it is. I know I read an article today from the Cincinnati Enquirer talking about how the Reds have pretty much, because of this outbreak that's going on, they've pretty much removed all non-essential personnel, even some of the guys that help them with some certain things. They're not allowing to be around the team right now. They're trying to, contain the sickness as much as possible. And to go 3-1 against the Cubs and the Mariners in the middle of this is pretty impressive.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm to the point now where I don't want to say it's an out because that's like a really, really loser's mentality of saying like, well, there's only so much though that I keep thinking back on that this team can possibly withstand. I mean, with all due respect to the hater crowd or the crowd that wants to get pissed off on Twitter every night and scream and yell about whose fault it is. I get the frustration. I understand the pent up anger of not ultimately having winning baseball in Cincinnati from a Reds franchise. But, like, again, I keep harkening back to these same points. But, like, Hunter Green has been out half the year. Nick Lodolo is gone. Like, Tyler Stevenson, thank God he's back, but he has been absent for most of this year. Jonathan India has been hurt. There's no reason, under any circumstance, that this team should even have a sliver of a chance. A sliver. You can't even make it up to where they genuinely are in a real playoff race. Now, again, am I saying that you should hang a banner because of it? No, but at some point, perspective has to come in here. Like, I was sitting on my couch today, just like, I mean, we got guys in here. Nick, I watch every game. You obviously know these guys because you're more, but like, I would consider myself probably an upper echelon person that knows mostly about this franchise. I know a good amount about this franchise. We got guys out there, God's honest truth, that if you don't know who they are, I'd be like, yeah. I mean, that's fair. You probably shouldn't know who these guys are. They're literally they're just scraping and clawing, bringing guys up left and right. And, I mean, we got Marriott out here just throwing scoreless inning after scoreless inning, and I'm just sitting there scratching my head thinking, at what point does this give? Now, again, I'm not suggesting that it's gonna collapse here or anything along those lines, but let's do the box score recap because we got a bunch of stuff to get into. But the offense, I think, stands out in this box score recap, I assume.
Yeah, for sure. But we'll start off with TJ Antone. Guy just coming back, made his debut on Saturday after missing over 2 years, through 2 perfect innings, really just set the tone for this game, struck out 3 batters in an opener role. Tremendous job from Antone. And then the Reds offense, they pounced all over Brian Wu, Mariners starting pitcher. Ellie and Renfroe had RBI singles to put the Reds up 2-0 in the first inning. And then Spencer Steer had the big hit of the day, a 3-run home run, number 20 on the season. That put the Reds up 5-0. Reds did squander some chances, though. They had base runners on in the 3rd, the 5th, and then they left the bases loaded against none other than Luke Weaver in the 6th. But the Reds and David Bell pieced together pitching from Antone. They had Mole throw a scoreless inning. Duarte pitched an inning, did give up a solo home run to Julio Rodriguez in his inning of work. And then the Reds went to Michael Marriott, a guy who had a 6.93 ERA at AAA. Marriott got through the 5th and the 6th, just allowing a solo home run. He got 2 outs in the top of the 7th, but left 2 runners on base for Lucas Sims. Sims hit J.P. Crawford, but then that brought up AL Player of the Month for the month of August, Julio Rodriguez, with the bases loaded. Lucas Sims struck him out. Big moment in this game. Bottom of 7th, Reds got a big insurance run when Tyler Stevenson ripped a double down the line. His 2nd extra base hit of the game, making it 6-2 Reds. Farmer pitched a perfect 8th, came back out. That's how depleted the Reds' bullpen was to try to get through the 9th. Got 2 outs, and then Julio Rodriguez came up again, representing the tying run. Ian Jabot got him out to end the ball game. Reds win, and the Reds now stay tied for a playoff spot, but now just with the Arizona Diamondbacks, the only team the Reds actually hold the tiebreaker of, which is important. Marlins are off today, so Marlins are now a half game behind the Reds and Diamondbacks, and the Reds have a full game lead on the Giants. So that's where we stand. 22 games left to play, Trace. Mike.
I said it was ridiculous. It genuinely is. I know I keep hearkening back to that and this, that, and the other, but I can't believe it. We had a deep fly, though, didn't we, Nick? It was the deepest fly of them all. Spencer Steer. What a guy. What a guy. Are we being on? I mean, let's be honest. Matt McLean gets a lot of love. Ellie De La Cruz gets a ton of love. Spencer Steer just keeps flying under the radar. Nobody wants to talk about him. One thing that I do agree with Barry Larkin from time to time is that Spencer Steer probably should get a little more national love. And the deep drive of the day is sponsored by Deep South Commodities. 102 miles an hour off the bat, 408 feet. Julio Rodriguez tried, but he just couldn't quite get the baseball. He tried. It was a 3-run bomb, making the score 5-0. And if you're into statistics and you like calculators, Cincinnati win probability went to 91.7. It's a 16% jump. DSC is a leader in renewable commodities for biofuel production, specializing in used cooking oil, collection, aggregation, and sales. Visit www.deepsouthcommodities.com for more information. Thanks to our friends at Deep South Commodities, John and his gang. Do me a favor, as always, Nick said this before, there's two things that you can do on the show that helps us out. It helps us out, and we like to convince everybody that it actually helps out the Reds too. You don't have to believe that, but if you stick around here long enough, you might be convinced. You might think that it's, oh, that's blasphemy, this, that, and the other. Likes equals wins. That's just the way it's been all year long. And if you don't believe me, how many wins do the Reds have again, Nick? I'm just going to keep asking that question. How many wins is that?
72.
72. We're getting close to magic number time. I mean, we're not there yet. Not saying we're there yet, but we're getting close to it. We're probably about a week and a half away from getting out the old magic number time. Feel like I need to do something for that. I don't know what we could do. But let's talk about the game. Right off the top of the rip, we have early offense with an exclamation point, and that's what it felt like, Nick. Of course, scoring runs in a game, it doesn't matter when you score them. If you score them, that's all that matters. But it felt like for a long time the Reds needed to get it going early because it just felt like that was the tone that has been set for this offense throughout the past month, is that they have scored some runs, but not many, obviously. But they've scored some runs. But whenever they did score the runs, Nick, they seemed to be late in the game. 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th inning. They never were able to get on the board first. It's made it difficult to kind of get ahead and I guess to a certain extent build some confidence. They've done that. They've turned the corner here the last 3 or 4 days. They were able to jump on top of Seattle early. They look more comfortable at the plate. They obviously they didn't strike out, but I think one time today. That's encouraging. But more importantly, as always, and I guess this is a part of the reason why you don't strike out, is the takes that they had. They looked so much more comfortable, and when I say takes, I'm not talking about just walking. I'm talking about just genuinely a pitch that's low or a pitch or that's just high or just off the plate. They weren't diving at the ball. They didn't look like they were even considering swinging. And that's when people are locked in more times than not, is just the way they take a pitch, much less the way they look when they hit a ball. So I don't know what you felt or how you felt about this game, but their takes looked really good today.
Yeah, I mean, Ellie De La Cruz walked twice, also was hit by a pitch. Ellie was on base, had 3 hits on the second game of the doubleheader on Saturday, so good to see Ellie coming around. Tyler Stevenson really hitting the ball hard, 2 doubles today. That's great to see. Guy that probably won't show up in the box scored, Noelvi Marte, hit the 4th hardest ball in the Reds StatCast history. I continue to be really impressed with what he's doing, even if the results haven't been there. And then, of course, Spencer Steer, just that huge home run. It's nice. It's back-to-back days. The Reds jumped on a pitcher early in the game after it felt like every single night they were getting dominated by the starting pitching. They had a couple games where they've had several games where they finally came to life late in the game, but it was nice to see them be able to jump on a starting pitcher. The Reds are going to need this offense. Obviously, this week you have the dire situation with the pitching staff. But even when the pitching gets back to relative health, you can't expect them to keep night after night after night, putting up great performances. You're going to need some games where your offense carries you just a little bit. And definitely a positive sign for the Reds. And they got some bad teams coming up. Hopefully they can continue to bounce on some. This guy wasn't even a bad pitcher, but some of the bad pitchers they got coming up.
He wasn't a bad pitcher, but he did make mistakes today, right? And that's the thing that was nice to see, is they capitalized on his mistakes. And he for whatever term you would like to use, he just didn't have his command. He hit a couple guys on the foot. Put it this way, if I told you the Reds got hit 4 times, I think it was 4 times, they couldn't have gotten hit better 4 times. I guess Noelve got hit pretty good on the elbow, but he has an elbow guard. The rest of the guys, it scuffed their shoe a little bit. They might, not that I suggest doing this, but if you just take your foot right now and you just bang it on the ground a little bit, like a little toe tap, I'm assuming that's pretty much how they all felt. So shout out to him for not hitting our guys hard, but putting them on base. And then, like I said before, they took advantage of it, and they hit some balls hard. Noelve hit a ball really hard It was just right at the shortstop, and unfortunately that happens from time to time. But Tyler Stevenson, I think, is the guy that I'm drawn to right now. I know Ellie had a great day. I'm not trying to overlook him. He did have a great day, but Tyler Stevenson's a guy that if he gets going, and here's the thing with Tyler. I've obviously been incredibly critical of Tyler all year long, and I think it's been rightfully so. I don't think that it's not like, oh, look at Trace. He's taking back what he said. What I'll say with Tyler is this: if Tyler Stevenson ever thinks he's going to be a power type guy, and he gets into this pool happy mode where he feels like he's got to fit in with whatever the metrics and all these people say that he should be or he needs to be, I don't think he's ever going to have success in the big leagues. If he goes back to what he's been doing lately, which is just hang out over the plate, shoot the ball into right field, and he almost hit one out today, and unfortunately it obviously hit the top of the fence, but that's who he is at the end at the end of it, that's who he is. Yes, he pulled a ball down the line, but more times than not, Tyler Stevenson, and I hate using the term a slap hitter because it's a negative connotation. People look at that as but in a way, that's what Tyler Stevenson is. He's a doubles guy, and obviously he's a guy that can get on base if again his approach is appropriate. And I just don't know for the longest time if he's allowed this psychological warfare of what he's supposed to be or what people want him to be versus what he actually is. And if the Reds will allow him to be who he just actually is, I think he'll be serviceable. I really do. Now, you can sit here and argue, and I'd have to agree that the defense is eventually going to catch up to him. But here we are, and I'm tired of really – and one last thing I want to say about Stevenson. I'm kind of tired of people beating him up every single time there's a missed call. It's not his fault every time. Okay, just because he has bad framing rates and his numbers don't look good and he does do a poor job of framing, there's times where these umpires can't miss calls. Like there was a couple of those pitches today, Nick. Like that's not on Tyler Stevenson. I mean, the guy just missed the call. It's literally the whole ball is in the zone. Okay, you can't miss that. So I'm not going to keep banging Tyler Stevenson every single time one of those pitches don't go our way. He is a big frame. I don't think it helps, but at the end of the day, like you've always said, Nick, it's the umpire's job to get the call right, no matter who's back there, right or wrong or indifferent. So shout out to Tyler Stevenson because I'm not saying he's carrying our offense right now, but he's certainly been a big reason as to why they've looked different the last few days.
Yeah, and I mean, this might be a little bit of hyperbole, but Tyler Stevenson also feels like the kind of guy that when you get in some of these really tight games, he's just the kind of hitter that, can hit the ball in the gap. It doesn't need to hit a home run. You know what I mean? Like he can get some of these, more manufactured type runs, drive those in. And so look, any offensive contributors they get, he's been huge of late. I think this might be sustainable, and it's not been a bunch of blue pits. I know. Shout out Brandon on Twitter. Tyler Stevenson's hard hit rate since August 1st was top 10 in baseball. So this hasn't been a whole bunch of cheap hits. There's been a lot of good contact, and he's made some adjustments. And man, if he can be hot in September, it really I think changes the Reds' offense at least to some degree.
Yeah, before we get into Antone, which he delivers, or he deserves a nice segment here. Craig, who did an excellent job filling in here the last few days, pointed something out on Twitter. I had made the comment that hitting is contagious, and it without question is. And when it's contagious, it can be contagious in a good way, and it can be contagious in a bad way, right? And it felt like yesterday, and Craig pointed out it was a few days. He thinks it's a few days before yesterday, but yesterday, although the Reds lost, the way they started to really put at-bats together and square balls up and find ways to score runs, it felt like that was the start of something that bled into today. So, again, it's great when you win, and obviously it kind of masks all of your problems. But yesterday, I know everyone was upset, and I don't say everyone, but there was some people upset about that loss yesterday. And I was encouraged by the loss yesterday, more so than defeated, just because I felt like this offense, which is something we need in order to make the postseason. You need this offense to wake up a little bit. You can't continue to win baseball games 3-2, 2-1, walk guys off in the bottom of the ninth when you've only given up 2 runs. That's the type of stuff that's just not sustainable. It's nice to see the offense kind of get back on track. TJ Antone, I'm going to let you start this off because I think I'll be long in the tooth if I get going on this guy.
Just what an awesome story. And I'll be honest, when the Reds called up TJ Antone, I was like, man, this is a really cool story, but I really hope it's not one of those things where the Reds are just, bringing him up, because he looked okay in AAA. I know he looked pretty good at the end. Really didn't know what you were getting out of him. Man, today he looked just awesome. Stepping into this role where the Reds are just, their pitching is just depleted right now. I don't know if I can remember a time where the Reds pitching was this dire. And for him to come out and throw up 2 zeros, just heroic stuff. I mean, that's great. Maybe I'm jumping too far. I kind of look at this and I say, hey, let's ride him out as an opener a couple more times. He looks comfortable in this role. You're going to have probably Ben Lively is going to be starting, and they've used an opener with him before. It seems like he'd be perfect with that. They're probably going to have to use Lyon Richardson or someone else again. I would love using Anton as an opener a couple times a week. I just think he looks really comfortable in that role. He's a guy that can have some really pitch efficient innings that can maybe sneak you through 2, maybe even 3 when he gets a little bit more stretched out. Man, I just love what he brought, and just a big time performance today.
So here's the thing about TJ. I don't know if people really understand what he did. I mean, I think people just say, "Oh, it's a cool story." To blow your arm out twice like that, and to even decide in your mind that you want to try to come back from that again is that in and of itself is courageous. Okay, if TJ decided that he wanted to just come back again, and he worked hard to try to get it back, and it just wasn't there. He's throwing 88 miles an hour, topping out at 88, all the things that you could come to expect on the second Tommy John. That would have been admirable. That would have been impressive. But the idea that this guy not only had the fortitude to push on, when, quite frankly, the statistics for him to even get back to pitch today was so small. I mean, it was so small. Not only do you have to get back, but you have to be good enough. You have to be good enough to still get a chance to even pitch again. And maybe he'll never be the same guy he used to be, because I'm telling you right now, TJ Antone, when he might be, I'm not downplaying what he can do, but he used to be just absolute nails. I mean, the guy was an unbelievable arm. But the thing that I wanted to point out with this guy is this. The way he came off the mound in the first inning tells you everything you need to know and exactly why he was able to come back from TJ in the first place. He's Graham Ashcraft-esque, or maybe Graham Ashcraft is TJ Antone-esque. I don't want to say one guy's the other. They're just competitors. And you know what? At the end of all of it, I know that this isn't the one thing that you have to live with or die with. Of course, you can have kind of free-flowing guys that don't get fired up, that pitch really, really well, and I'm not downplaying that at all. But when I watch a game, I can live with losing with a guy like TJ Antone. I can live with losing with a guy like Graham Ashcraft. Those guys are just competitors at heart. They just want to win. It's not about the way they look. It's not about what their stat line is. And I'm not saying that the rest of the team doesn't have this, because they do. But those two guys in specific, and TJ specifically today, you could just tell he was out to prove a point, and he was all in. He was all in. And you know what? He might get hit hard the next time he goes out there. But I'm going to tell you right now, and I know this might sound like, maybe not the way that you should go about it. And I don't ever consider myself a journalist anyway, so who gives a rat's ass what I think or say. I'm not getting on TJ Antone for the rest of his career. There will not be a damn thing that guy can do to where I'm going to say anything bad about him, because you just can't care more than he cares. You can't want it more than he wants it. You might sit on your couch and be like, oh, yeah, you get mad at somebody for doing something. TJ Antone lives and breathes and dies by what he did today. That's his life. In order to come back from what he did, he made it his life to get back to that. And anybody that puts themselves through that much struggle to have success or give themselves to have a chance, I will not say a bad thing about him, ever. Not a single thing. That's how much I respect TJ Antone, and I think the rest of the people should respect what he did. And it shouldn't have, I guess, to a certain extent, it requires him to throw the ball well for people to appreciate what he did. But even if he doesn't throw the ball well, you should still at least acknowledge what he's done. And I'm not suggesting that you need to be a pushover, this, that, and the other. You know, I would hope that if you watch this show long enough, you know that I'm not that kind of guy. But there are different types of circumstances for different people, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate TJ Antone and what he did today, and honestly the way that he goes about his life. So that's as much as I could possibly say about one guy that's on this Reds team.
Yeah, and you also should point out he's lost about 2 miles an hour on his fastball. So he's doing this without that same fastball that he had, without the same velocity that he had back in 2021 when he was just almost as dominant as about any Reds relievers I can remember. Man, in 2021, he was absolutely electric, and he could go like up to 3 innings at a time, which is just why, he could be a huge weapon. And look, he may come back crashing down to earth, and that would be completely understandable. And I think he deserves all the grace in the world if that happens. But for what he did today, it's big time. And the second game of that doubleheader, remember he threw a scoreless 8th, and the Reds came back and won the game.
Yeah,
so that's two huge performances right in the middle of a pennant race. Coming back and haven't pitched in 2 years. That's awesome stuff.
Oh, it is. Yeah. All right. You got bullpen game. I mean, what?
Trace,
well, what else is there to say, dude? What do you want me to do?
Could you imagine if the Reds were facing Michael Marriott and this guy gets 2 2/3 innings, almost made it through 3 innings, only 1 run, guy with an ERA of almost 7 at AAA? The X.com app would have been burning to the ground. These frauds, they can't hit.
That's amazing. Randy brings up a good point. He says when you play behind a guy like Antone, it makes you want to run through a wall. Listen, I do think that I do think that matters a little bit. I think that guys' emotions can spew over a little bit, right? And now it doesn't. It can go both ways, right? I definitely think it can go both ways. If you're always overly passionate and you take out negativity and you struggle a little bit and it's always negative, or you're slamming bats or throwing your glove and doing all that type of stuff, it can spew over and be a negative. It's obviously a positive if you're playing well and you pour out that emotion. I think sometimes that stuff does get a little oversold about how much people care, this, that, and the other. I mean, they all care. I mean, let's be honest. In order to be even on that field, you've dedicated a lot of your life to a sport. I mean, you've sacrificed a lot of things in your life to be able to be that good at one thing, no matter who you are. So I don't want to sit here and act like, there's TJ and Graham Ashcraft care about it more than, Christian Encarnacion Strand, just because Christian Encarnacion Strand doesn't scream and yell. I guess my main point to the whole thing was that there is a little bit more competitive edge, competitive juice to some other guys, and I think those two guys definitely have it. In regards to the bullpen, go ahead.
Fraley too. I mean, Fraley's in the same boat, right now.
He's got a broken leg, broken toe. He's got a broken toe. I don't want people to actually think he's got a broken leg. That's a joke. But my point is that he's been unbelievable too. I mean, Jake Fraley, man. This season, when you sit down in January to think back on this season, right now when you're in the thick of it, it's hard to really put it in context, right? Like we're in the middle of a race. We're mad at guys for not performing. We're happy about guys performing. We're just fans. That's who we are. We're fans. At the end of the day, that's what we are. We love this team, live and die by them. But the thing is like when you just take this in a little bit. And I think it's okay for us as fans to do that. I don't think that obviously in the clubhouse they should be doing that because they have a game to play tomorrow and they need to not be worried about what the overall season looks like. But sometimes as a fan, you're not playing in the game. So I just sit back and I think to myself, is this real? Is this real? Do me a favor, Nick. I'm going to give you a minute. I'll buy you a little bit of time. Give me the numbers. I want the numbers of all the guys that threw today for the Reds. Give me the numbers that they have. I know you're a numbers guy. I know you're just the guy for this job. You know everybody's numbers. They got to have that on some kind of website, right?
You mean like their season-long ERA?
No. Their legitimate number on the back of their uniform, Nick. Their number.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I want to know what their numbers are. I mean,
all right, so I got it right here. So Jabot 79, Mole 50, pitched. Antone 70, Buck Farmer 46.
Okay, that's a good one.
Michael Marriott 86. Was that everyone? Did I miss anyone? Duarte, 77.
Okay, guys, let's call it what it is. Those guys that have those numbers, more times than not, they're just given those numbers. This is a spring training. It looked like a split squad game out there. I'm being honest. It looked like half of our team was over in I know they're not in Glendale, but half our team was in Glendale, half our team was in Scottsdale, and that's just what we had today. You're just going to throw those guys out there. We're out here. We got guys throwing in a playoff race that genuinely don't even have their numbers that they're going to ultimately win if they stick around in the big leagues. They're just been given these. It's unbelievable. It makes no sense. Don't let that go by you. Don't be a fan and be like, I mean, just appreciate it is all I'm saying. I'm just telling you, this is ridiculous. This season is an absolute joke of a joke. I'm here for it, though.
I think there's only 4 pitchers on the Reds' entire staff that were on the opening day roster right now. Diaz, Sims might not have been on the opening day roster. I can't even remember. But Diaz, we'll call Sims. Diaz, Sims, Jabot, and Farmer. Oh, and Lowell too. But I mean, just look up and down. Abbott, Spires, Phillips, Mole, Anto, Duarte, Shreve, Legumina, Marriott. Like none of these guys were even on the radar. Or even in the organization back in April.
I don't think Sims was on the opening day roster. I think Sims
he was hurt.
Yeah, Sims was hurt. I mean, all right. What a joke. I mean, it's great. It's great. But to sit here and think that this is sustainable, it's not. But at the same time, survive in advance, give yourself a chance, and who knows? Maybe we find a little lightning in a bottle. We really only need 1 week to play above our head. We need 1 week to play above our head, right? Like when I say play above our head, you win 5 of the 7. You win 6 of the 7. Dare I say you win 7-game winning streak. I don't want to go that far, but it's all right in front of us.
The Reds could legitimately be one decent win streak away from making the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like that's not hyperbole. Like you win 5 in a row, you're going to be in almost control. It's wild.
Yeah, it is amazing. All right. I don't know if we go to what's next right now. I think let's do that just for the sake of our podcast. Let's do who, what, when, where, and why, and we'll keep it moving.
All right. Well, tomorrow Reds are going to need some more magic. Maybe a little easier. I don't know. Who knows at this point. For the Mariners will be Bryce Miller. He's a rookie, second straight night. The Reds will be facing a rookie. He was a fringe top 100 prospect. He was like 97th coming into the season. Struggled a little bit of late. He's got a 5.40 ERA of his last 2 starts. He's really kind of had some great moments and some rough moments this year. 4 starts this season, Trace, where he's allowed 6+ earned runs, but he also has 11 starts where he's gone 5 innings and allowed 1 earned run or less. Fastball sits about 95, slider at 87. Also has about 4 other pitches, but primarily just fastball and slider. And then for the Reds, it'll be the debut of Connor Phillips, the number 70 prospect in Major League Baseball. He was, of course, the player to be named later in the trade that brought Jake Fraley and Brandon Williamson to the Reds for Eugenio Suarez and Jesse Winker. So certainly Connor Phillips is going to be motivated tomorrow. You can be sure of that. Phillips, 154 strikeouts and 105 innings pitched this season. That's a 13.2 K per 9 rate. Struggles with time with walks, though. Walks per 9 almost at 5. Last start at AAA was fantastic. 6 innings pitched, 3 hits, no runs, 1 walk, 6 strikeouts. But the one thing that scares you about Connor Phillips, as much talent as this guy has, and it is as talented as any pitcher, maybe in the Reds organization, outside of Hunter Green. 6 starts this season where he's got 7 outs or less, including 2 in August where he didn't make it out of the second inning. So there's been times where the Reds have that 35 pitch limit per inning, where in the minor leagues they have like that hard count. So again, maybe in the big leagues that wouldn't happen because maybe they let him throw 40 pitches, right? But we'll see. I'm excited and terrified to watch Connor Phillips tomorrow, if I'm being honest. Trace, I don't think the Reds wanted to bring Phillips up this year. We talked with Losing it.
No, Louisville broadcaster. Yep.
Yeah, Pittsburgh broadcaster. But yeah, and Jack McMullen. Sorry, Jack. But Jack, made it very clear he didn't think it was a good idea to call him up. And then you saw a couple of Phillips' starts where he didn't make out the second day at Louisville, and you're like, okay, yeah, Jack probably knew what he was talking about. But the Reds are in a dire situation that you really didn't have a choice. I'm assuming the Reds are probably going to make another move tomorrow. I'm assuming Marriott's out. A good look figuring out who comes up because Stout's not on normal rest. He would be on 3 days rest if they call him up. I can't imagine they're calling him on 3 days rest. So I don't know, someone in their bullpen just to get an extra arm up here for Marriott. A little bit better of a situation tomorrow for Phillips if, God forbid he does go short. Diaz didn't pitch today. Law didn't pitch today. Shreve didn't pitch today. Legumina just got called up, didn't pitch today. And then, of course, I think the Reds will have another pitcher tomorrow. So, but, man, he's got a chance. He's got a chance to just add his name to the legacy of guys that have contributed out of nowhere this year.
Well, you're stealing wins. You steal a win today, it feels unbelievable. Like, I guess, to put things in perspective, outside of gaining a game on the Cubs, right? If the Reds, and I was thinking about this today when I sat down and watched the game, I was thinking, if they could just find a way to somehow win this game, because it felt dire. It felt a little dire to me before the game started, if we're being completely honest. But I was like, if they could find a way to win today, imagine how you would have felt going into today if they were to lose, but they took 3 or 4 from the Cubs, right? It's like you'd feel great. And maybe I feel the same now that they took care of Seattle, but I don't know. I don't know if you do. But it's the same. It's the same outcome outside of obviously gaining a game on the Cubs. And at this point, I hate to say this, but we're in a position now where we kind of have to root for the Cubs, like it or not. That's what we need to do. The Cubs, I'm not saying you can't catch them, but the chances of catching them are pretty small. It's pretty small. They have a series against the Giants now. I hope they sweep the Giants. That'd be great. And then I think they play, you might be able to correct me if I'm wrong, then I think they play the D-backs coming up after that for a 4-game set. So as crazy as this sounds, if you told me right now the Cubs could just win out and sweep the Giants and the D-backs, which isn't going to happen, I would take it. And I know people hate the Cubs, and I hate them just as much. Trust me, it burns me. But at the end of it, it doesn't matter. If the Cubs finish ahead of us by 1 game or 10 games, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. What really does matter for us at this point is the Giants and the Diamondbacks, and I guess we still obviously keep up with the Marlins. I don't want to overlook them. So I don't know how you feel about that whole situation, but I don't want to say I'm going to root for the Cubs because that sounds gross and disgusting, but I'm not going to be mad if the Cubs win.
As long as the Reds win, I don't think it matters as much between the Cubs and Giants, but if you lose, if you lose, you want the Cubs to win. If you win, I think it's okay if the Cubs lose and you kind of keep giving yourself more opportunities, but if you lose, you have to root for the Cubs. So that's kind of, I guess, where I'm at. Marlins, though, looking at their schedule coming up,
it's tough.
Dodgers, Phillies, Brewers, Braves.
It's tough.
I'm sure they'll be the one that wins.
Yeah. No, it makes no sense. You never know how it goes. Like you said, maybe the Marlins ended up taking that last spot. It would be shocking if they did based off of who they have to play. Conrad brings up a good point in the chat. He says, imagine the NL Central getting 3 teams in. I said this a long time ago, and I really do believe this. You think I'm playing games. I ain't playing games. I'm going to tell you straight to your face again. The NL Central is not a bad division. It's just not. It's not. I guess you could say the Pirates and the Cardinals are terrible, but how many teams in each division could you say arguably that are great anyways? I get if you're gonna hang your hat on the Dodgers, I guess. Is that what you're hanging your hat on? You're hanging your hat on the Dodgers, and that's what makes the West great. I guess in a way, Nick, without sounding like too big of an idiot here. How big of a difference is the West and the Central, if we're being dead honest? The Brewers aren't a bad team. Why can't we talk about the Brewers the same way we talk about the Dodgers?
Yeah, the Brewers are 16 games over 500 right now. For all the talk of, remember at the trade deadline, the Reds had a half-game lead? And, well, you got to try to – the Reds weren't – it doesn't matter what the Reds would at the trade deadline. They weren't catching the Brewers. Like the Brewers might end up winning 90 games.
Oh yeah,
like that's a pretty darn good team.
Well, the Brewers played over their head for a minute, right? Like we were sitting there making fun of the Brewers, thinking they weren't very good, and then they went and won like 9 or 11 games against really good teams. So we just had to kind of eat crow a little bit there. I mean, listen, you can win multitude of ways. The Brewers do it in an ugly way. I mean, they're in their games. They have really good pitching, and yeah, they might look gross at times. That offensive lineup, you might ask yourself, who is this team, and why are they any good? But then they run out there and they got guys out of the bullpen that are throwing 98 to 101 mile an hour, and you're just like, damn, how many of these guys have they got? And they got a bunch of them. As much as we want to sit here and talk about how the Reds bullpen is great, and it is, they don't have the same type of looking guys coming out of the bullpen as the Brewers do. The Brewers, you're like, shit, I don't know how you're supposed to hit this guy. And then they bring in another guy, and you're like, how are you supposed to hit this guy? And then you get to the point, Nick, where I was watching the series, and I just thought to myself, how in the hell do they have this many good pitchers? So, I don't know.
Brewers have like 5 Alexis Diaz.
Yeah. No, they do. They do. Alexis Diaz, are we concerned about him at all?
No, I don't think so.
I'm
He's
slightly.
logged a lot of innings. I don't really put a lot of stock into yesterday.
It's not just yesterday.
And I have to do a little more digging on him.
I'm a little concerned about him, if I'm being honest. I'm not trying to bring negative vibes into the show when we won. We should just keep it positive. I love it, but I'm just going to openly say that out loud, that Diaz is it's been a little while since I thought, man, he looks dominant. I mean, he's not completely fallen apart in a big-time save situation, but I just I hope I'm wrong. I'm trying to jinx it in reverse here, but we'll see. We'll see. I'm sure you'll have some kind of reason to tell me whether I'm right or wrong tomorrow, and I love that about you. But I don't know. My eyes are telling me he doesn't look Alexis Diaz like lately.
I mean, he's walked too many guys, but he kind of had that problem all year, and he kind of just got away with it. Right. Like if he doesn't walk guys, if he throws first pitch strikes, if he comes out of the bullpen throwing strikes, I think he's fine. I think that's really been where he's just kind of got himself in trouble, is he's come out not throwing strikes, and he's had to make pitches, and they're able to sit on certain pitches. And
no, I get it.
Yeah. I mean, but hey, it makes sense. Like today, you could have pitched him today, but you got to think long term for Diaz. And I think he only threw like 14 pitches yesterday and was off the day before. So
right.
The Reds, you might be honest with the Reds might also, because today, that would only been back-to-back days. It wouldn't have been 3 in a row. So, maybe there is something to that, and the Reds are seeing that too. So we'll see.
All right. Chat, you guys are elite. This is an elite group of bunch we have. We appreciate you. We appreciate the community we have. This isn't, we said it a billion times, this really isn't about us, man. It's not about us. Yeah, we put on the show. Yes, we're on here. We talk about the Reds every single night. You guys bring context. You guys bring good questions. You guys bring good points. The community inside of this show is incredible. And I can't tell you how much it means to us to continue to see kind of what we do and where we're going with this continue to grow. You guys telling people about this show is a huge help. A huge help, man. I can't tell you how much we appreciate that. And on top of that, we keep rising in the rankings of the podcast, Apple Podcast, and that's just a reflection of you guys, if we're being completely honest. We've been doing this show from day one. Yeah, I'd like to think that if we ran a horrible show and we didn't know what we were talking about, people probably wouldn't listen. But the reality is that you can be as good as you want, but if nobody continues to spread the message, it eventually dies. It dies because it just doesn't grow without your love and support. We'll keep doing it. And the Reds have done an unbelievable job for us to continue to win and make things interesting for us. We decided to do this show back in January when we thought they were going to be bad, if we're being honest. I think a lot of people thought they were going to be bad. Nick Kirby's been selling this dream and in belief that this Reds team and the Reds franchise is in the right direction. And I think a lot of people probably doubted him and I don't want to say made fun of him. That's not the right term to use, but, mocked him and said, oh, yeah, you're going to believe in these guys. And let's be honest, Nick's for the most part been right. It's been an unbelievable season. Unbelievable season. I hope you continue to enjoy it. I keep saying that, but I really do. I mean, take this in. I'm trying my best to take it in as well. Right now, it feels like we're in a spot where we shouldn't be. I got to be honest with you, chat. We're in a spot where we shouldn't be. We're dodging every bullet there is known to mankind right now. COVID, I don't want to get into it. I don't want to get canceled, but I guess it's back. I guess we're testing for it again. I guess we got to go around. We got to figure out who's been around each other. We're going to do the song and dance again. I guess that's what's going to do. And I got a lot of questions about it. I see people in the chat asking about it. I don't know when it became a thing. I don't know. Again, with all love and respect, I hope these guys survive COVID. I hope they're able to find a way to beat it. And until that, we'll get back on track. It's just it's a wild thing. I don't know how many times this team has to survive random stuff like this, but they shouldn't be around. They shouldn't be around, and they are. So you should support them. I know that at times it can be frustrating. I know at times these rookies, they can be unbelievably frustrating, right? But let's not forget. The whole left side of our infield is a combined 42 years old. It's not like it's probably going to be a smooth sail ride here, right? You want to know what our infield is? It's a rookie? A rookie? A rookie? A rookie? You want me to do it again? It's a rookie, a rookie, a rookie, and a rookie. Okay? It's not supposed to be like this. This is not normal. Okay? Does it mean and guarantee we're going to be around forever just because we have these rookies? Of course not. I'm not suggesting that 100% it is, but let's also not act like this team isn't destined to be really good in the future. Okay? That's what they are. They're destined to be good in the future. And by God, we might cheat the system and we might get in early. We might just accidentally get in early. But I'm going to appreciate it and love it no matter what. And I hope you do too. Nick, your final thoughts before we call it a day on this Labor Day weekend. Shout out to all the people that are laborers in this country. We need you.
Reds playoff odds back up to 21%. They were down to 10 a couple days ago, so this was a huge swing these last couple days. I think that probably feels about where it's at if I'm being realistic. 22 games to play. You're just really kind of counting down at this point, and just every day the Reds hang in the race is exciting. Whether they get there or not, the longer we can keep this shtick of the 2023 Reds rolling, I'm gonna keep enjoying it, man, because it's been a hell of a ride. It's been a lot of fun.
It has been a hell of a ride, and it's time for the little Nick on Nick crime. And like it or not, I got a special send-off for us because you don't know how many more opportunities you get for this type of send-off. Man, look at that. We only need probably how many more of those, Nick? How many more of those do we need?
I mean, maybe 11, 12,
Man.
13.
Let's call it 14.
Yeah.
14.
You get 14 more Nick Cages. You can print the tickets. Well, on the road. Because
and let's be honest, we might want to be on the road. I think we want to be on the road. We want to be on the road. We want to be on the road.
I want the Brewers. I want the Brewers. I want them. I want them.
I'm all about it. All right. Well, this is the time of the show where I try to dunk a basketball. I'm going to try to be an athlete the best I can. I can't tell you again how much I appreciate you, how much we love you. And, here's the thing. I told you there's not many more opportunities for this. My guess is this might be the last one, if we're being honest. So, you got it. You got it. You got to do it. Hold on. This isn't it. This is it. Oh, what is that? That sounds like copyright strike. But I don't care. I don't care. Why would we care around here at Chatterbox? We don't need a copyright strike. Send them all our way. Because my God, if I get to play this song one more time, I'm going to love it. So you enjoy this. You live this. You breathe this. When you thought Luke Weaver was gone, he came right back for you. Because you just can't keep him away.